what advice can you give to fourth-year students? What attitudes, useful things to know, relationships to cultivate, things to do that will make you successful as an intern, maximize your learning, and keep you sane. If you can think of essential tips that'll help start off internship on the right footing, that would be amazing. So that's what I wrote to them all. So maybe you could all introduce yourselves, say where you are, and then if you would just answer that question. I know you all have ideas to share. So well, maybe I'll start with my nephew. Go ahead.
Let's do
it. Matt Cohn, what are you doing these days?
Great. Okay, I'll give a little introduction. So I'm from the Philadelphia area. I went to medical school at Cornell. I decided to do orthopedics residency, and I did that in Chicago at Rush. I graduated residency this past summer, and currently I'm a fellow at the Rothman Institute, which is in Philadelphia. So when you asked me what advice did I have for fourth-year med students who are to be interns shortly, I kind of went stream of consciousness and wrote down 8 rules for being an amazing intern. I've had conversations like this before, so these ideas were brewing a little bit, but here are my 8 rules in no particular order.
Not yet, Matt.
Okay. Oh, all right. Oh, we're introducing.
I want Layla and Bren to also.
All right, that was just a teaser then.
That was a teaser.
Yeah.
To introduce yourselves as well. So Layla, go ahead.
I am Layla. I am a family med intern at Lancaster General Hospital in Lancaster, PA for Penn Medicine. And I will be a little bit more on the fly about my tips.
So Layla is a virtuoso violin player who learned to play rock violin and sang and rapped in the band.
Rapping was a time.
a real presence and performer, and gave us a lot. Bren, say who you are.
Sure, I'm Bren. I just like Dennis said, went to Drexel Medical School and played on the band with him and Layla. And I'm currently in my intern year. I'll be a radiologist, but the radiology residency is, as many of you might know, the first year is general medicine, and then the following 4 are radiology. So I'm just getting close to the end of my internal medicine preliminary year. I'm in Dallas at Baylor University Medical Center. And yeah, I think I have some good ones, but we'll get there.
Okay, terrific. And Bren is an amazing keyboard player, classical musician, but somehow I was able to recruit her to play rock and roll, and she did just as well, even better. So all right,
it was the best.
So we can't wait to hear Matt, your 8 rules. So let's start with that.
All right, 8 rules. Let's fire it up. So, okay. Rule number 1 is attitude is everything. Actually, hold on. Let me take a step back. So my lens is going to be a little different from the other 2, because when I was thinking about this, I was more thinking about which interns that were on my team that did such a great job, that were just like amazing interns and stood out and really helped the team. And I also tried to think of things, in people who didn't have as great of an experience and why that might be. So that's just the lens I'm looking through. So rule number 1 is attitude is everything. If you come in with a positive attitude and you work hard, if you have those 2 things, I guarantee you will have a great year and be a productive intern. What does a good attitude mean? It's someone who's pleasant to be around. It's someone who wants to do the right thing for the patient. Importantly, it's someone who doesn't complain, isn't harping on the negative, in a job where there's a lot of stressful things going on. It's someone, importantly, that's just eager to help the team in whatever way is possible. Nothing is below you. Like, there were times as an intern where I was sweeping the rooms in the OR to clean up in between cases, to try to move things along and just be helpful in any way. And those, being eager to just help in whatever way will make your day and your team much happier. All right, rule number 2, stay organized. An intern who can keep track of their tasks and accomplish them in an efficient way is extremely valuable. You're going to be an intern on rounds, and there's going to be a million different tasks being fired at you. Just be able to write them down, be able to keep them organized and look at them and attack them in a strategic way, and it will pay dividends. And people notice when there is someone making an effort to be organized, and people always respect that. All right, rule number 3 is find a mentor, find a senior resident to have as a mentor to seek advice if there's an issue or you have questions about how to approach different things. Someone who's above you that you've like spent time and invested in to build a relationship will just make those challenging times a lot easier to get through. All right, rule number 4, this is a big one. No paralysis by analysis. All right. Some of the interns that really had a hard time were people who they have a decision to make and there's a lot of data getting thrown at them and they get lost in it and they become incapable of making a decision. So just keep in mind, if you have, there's a quote, I think it's a Cohn quote where it's like, if you have 80% of the information you need to make a decision, you should just make it. So just keep that in mind. Always try to make forward progress. Rule number 5, write notes every day. So read something every day, make a habit of it. If you're doing surgery is a craft. So you have to practice, like draw pictures, practice suturing. I'm a fellow and I still draw pictures of my cases like at least once or twice a week. All right. Rule number 6, be the first one there. The single easiest way to earn everyone's respect is to be early. And it's also the easiest way to lose it. Rule number 7, this is a big one, like mentally, like recognize that you know very little and that is completely okay. Just be excited to learn and make progress. And then the last rule number 8 is be a team player. Intern year and residency at large is not a zero-sum game. When you do things for other people on your team, your class looks good, you look good, everyone looks good, and it's much more fun. And that team chemistry is what makes residency and internship worth it and enjoyable. So those are my 8 rules.
Brian,
awesome.
I know you have to go soon, so maybe you could weigh in and maybe comment on some of Matt's rules as well.
Yeah, I love Matt's rules. I feel like those are like so important, and a couple of them stuck out to me. I really liked what he said about like acting like you know nothing, and for me that was pretty easy because I actually didn't really know anything. And also just being a team player. I should say residency is like literally, I don't think they even tell you how much team based it is. Like it's all about teams. Like you're always on a team, you're always working with other people, and like I don't even think I realized that, but if you're not a team player, it'll be a lot harder than if you just do your best to be a team player. But my just like stuff, I think the first thing I thought of is like when I was in my first month of residency, I was in the MICU. I started my first month in the MICU, and it was just like really hard for me to like realize how dumb I was. Like I spent a whole year, like 4th year, kind of just chilling. I took step 2, and then 4th year, really the only test you take is the emergency shelf. And I feel like I lost so much knowledge. And then I started in the ICU and I was like, wow, I'm so dumb. And it was really hard. Like I felt really dumb. I felt like I forgot everything. I felt like I was doing a horrible job. And I don't think anyone like really warned me about that feeling, because I was like, wow, like I'm below average. Like I'm dumb and I don't know why I'm a doctor right now. And I like eventually talked to one of my other friends who was doing his emergency rotation at UT Austin, and he was like, no, I feel the same way. And just like hearing him like tell me that he felt that way, I felt so much better. So I just want to tell everybody right now, like your first month, you might feel like a ding dong, but like that's normal and it'll get so much better. And you're not, like, if you ever think that you're dumb, you're not, because it's really, really hard. And then the other thing I thought of, I think, I don't know, I think, well, I had a really good one actually, but I'm blanking a little bit right now. I don't know, I would say like, this is going to sound so dumb and cliche, but just trying to like have fun, because there's a lot of days of my job where I'm like having a lot of fun. And it definitely helps to have people around you that you like obviously, when you interview, you kind of like try to suss out if the people that you interview with at the program are like fun and cool people, and you do that to the best of your ability. But it's really nice at work when you kind of have some moments where you can like be light and just enjoy your job and enjoy the people that you're with. So that's been something that I've really enjoyed this year. And then I don't know, I think trying to take care of yourself, it's been really hard. Like when you're sleep deprived and you just kind of get burnt out so much more easily with the job when you have no sleep under your belt. So that's like an obvious one, but um, I would say that that was something that I like realized over time, that like you can't help other people if you're not helping yourself. Oh, I just remembered my last thing. This is my last thing. I saw a tweet the other day that said, and I'll just read it to you quickly. It's a tweet that says, "There's no amount of medical school rotations that prepare you for the depths of tiredness in residency. And we should not encourage residents to have to mimic resident hours, just practice what it is like." And I like loved that tweet because like, I feel like in med school, we're constantly just like, oh, I have to prepare myself for residency. Like, it's going to be so hard. But like, there's really nothing, like even what we're telling you here in this panel, like it's not going to like really prepare you as like that well for like how hard it is, but like, it's going to be okay. And you've been given like all the tools you need in medical school to be successful. And like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be great. That's all.
Oh, that's great. Thanks. And yeah, when you talked about feeling you're dumb, feeling like you're dumb, it brought me all the way back to internship, which was really a long time ago. But I remember going into internship and saying to one of my friends, you know, like, I don't know anything. I don't think I know anything. I'm definitely not ready for this. And he said, yeah, well, I hear if you're conscientious, that'll take you a long way. And it was like, oh, well, I'm good at being conscientious, you know, all right, you know. And then, you know, I've taught doctoring to interns for many years. And I once gave a little talk about, you know, the imposter syndrome. And what I've come to, you know, and I said, and I described it, you know, which is basically what you were saying, Bren, you know, like feeling like you're a fraud, you don't know anything, people think you're smart, but they're eventually going to figure it out, you know, you're going to be exposed. And I said, how many of you, you know, feel that way? And there were 12 interns in the room. They all raised their hands, you know, and I've come to see the imposter syndrome as like normal development, you know. It's like normal med student intern development, you know.
I see your point, and I raise you. If there's an intern that doesn't have a hint of imposter syndrome and being fearful that they don't know much, if someone doesn't have that, that's a red flag. Like that is the worst.
Sociopath.
Yeah, the ones who come in like guns blazing, thinking they know everything. Like, no, like you know nothing. You just don't. You're not aware of it yet. So
Yeah.
I think it's healthy to have that feeling. I certainly had it, and every intern has it, and it's completely okay. It's just recognize that you feel it and just be excited to learn and make progress, and you know, and get past it. Don't let it paralyze you. That's the key.
Yeah, yeah. I read some intern in a paper I read said, you know, one of my attendings said, you know, medicine is a journey. You know, if you're not learning stuff when you're 70 years old, you're not doing something right. You know, you can't expect to know everything. So yeah, just you know, take it in, you know, do your best, but don't be down on yourself if you don't know stuff. Anyway, Layla, I want to get your perspective on all of this.
I love the points that you guys brought up. I feel like the whole, I had that moment going into intern year where, you know, you want to be prepared and you do the best that you can. And it all ends up being kind of a wash anyways, just because you get there and you don't really know what to prepare, and you don't have all the knowledge. And that's why you're there in the first place. You're in teams, you're always being watched over, and they're not going to let you like flounder your first several months actually, or at all throughout residency, but especially in those first few months, they just want you to learn where the hospital is. They asked me what my goal was the very first week I was on internal medicine for my rotation, my very first week of intern year. And I said, I want to find where I'm going in this hospital. And they said, that is a fantastic goal. And, you know, I had all the other things I wanted to do. I wanted to know how to run a code and how to take care of all of the complex medical decisions, but I didn't even know how to get to the rooms. So, you know, I think it's important to take things one step at a time and give yourself those bite-sized goals, even if it seems silly, because everybody has to start out there at some point. And the confidence does start to come with time, but I mean, we're almost a year in at this point, and I'm still just getting over that imposter syndrome where I'm finally taking ownership for my patients. And whenever you start saying, well, these are my patients and I am responsible for them and I want to take really good care of them, that's when you start feeling a little bit more of that. Yes, I am Dr. Halal and I am going to be your doctor today. Although you still may get some patients that tell you that you look like you're 15, like somebody did to me today. And I said, yes, but I'm going to take really good care of you. So I think that the confidence will come with time. And all of my seniors told me that they do not expect you to come in with copious amount of knowledge. I think what kind of like Matt was saying, if you are eager to show up for your team, show up for your patients, work hard and be curious, because we learn on the job. Like you can go see somebody and then you're looking up, well, why did this happen to them, or what's going on with them, or, you know, how can I take better care of my patient? And then you'll go to that resource that's super helpful for you, or that, you know, the article that you read, or that thing that got pulled out from step one knowledge that you never thought you might see again, that sort of like flickered in the distance. And you're like, oh, I sort of remember that. Going to look that up is super helpful. But I think, at least for now, I think the biggest thing is to cultivate your hobbies. I think that really finding what brings you joy and peace, both like those super long full day things that you like to do, but also like I have 15 minutes. What is my favorite thing to do in 15 minutes? Because I think those will be saving graces for hard days. Because I feel like any job, hard days come, but also great days come as well. So I think for the harder days, like making, like Bren said, like, you know, you make that extra emphasis on eating a good meal or trying to go to bed a little bit earlier. But hey, I only have 15 minutes. What was that hobby that I love to do and made me feel really full, even if that's calling a friend or lighting a candle, you know. I like to go hiking on my one day off a week. So that's like my moment to like get restored. And then in terms of like medical knowledge and all that kind of stuff, that will come with time. But I think once you do figure out where you are going, it's helpful to reach out to them and see what resources they'll provide you with. Just because I got hooked up with an AAFP membership and I was given a little booklet of tips, and we got up-to-date subscriptions. So, you know, rather than going and purchasing a bunch of things and trying a whole bunch of new resources that you've never seen before, sticking to things that you really like right now, and then reaching out and being like, what are you guys going to provide or maybe offer us? So that way you don't go purchasing the same thing and spending money that you don't have. But yeah, cultivating hobbies. That's my number one.
All right. I think we have to wrap this up, but this has been amazing. I so appreciate all of your wisdom. Such a privilege to be with you all.